Oh, god damn it. Oh, fuck off. Oh, shit. Oh, for God's sake. Same thing as with the previous one with Leon. All of that was fake anger, because that was all post-commentary. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We're here, and we're doing the guide for Claire Scenario A S+. For those of you like myself who wanted the minigun, here's how you do it. Unlike with the Leon one, where I had a lot more self-doubt and I wasted my time getting the mag, this one is pretty faithful to Carcinogen's no damage run for Claire's Scenario A. Except I only care about getting the minigun. I don't care about taking damage or not, so... But Claire is significantly easier than Leon, considering the fact Leon, over the many days it took me, and many hours, I died, what, 15 times? With this, I only died 3 times. And, yeah. And all of that was G2. G2 is the hardest part of the game for whatever frickin' reason on hardcore for Claire. But if you can get through G2 easily, and you know you can, Claire is not that hard. Also, something that I think I did throughout the Leon run, or maybe I didn't, but I think I do it, yeah, I do it with Claire for sure. Apparently, and Carcinogin explains this, that if you like just tap the aim button, it's kind of like stair skating in Resident Evil 1, except not as good. Where you just get a little bit of a speed boost, because when you go in and out, it treats it as if you're on a flat area rather than stairs and doing that step BS. Basically, but it's such a minor speed boost that like if you don't really know what you're looking for, you could probably make the argument that it doesn't look like you're going any faster. But Carcinogen is a really good Resi player, so I take his word for it. If you go faster, you go faster. If it doesn't look like it, it's probably because I'm screwing it up, most likely. But you're going to see me doing that aim trick on stairs probably throughout this. But yeah, we're going to be doing a similar strategy for the final boss. It's not... G4 is not as reliant on the stun lock as a Super Tyrant for Leon is, because Super Tyrant, you're in a very tight space, he can basically get you, and it's just annoying all around, you know? But because you have a more open space and you can use the train to block him, G4 is a lot easier to do as long as you circle around. Like, as long as you're not getting too overzealous and as long as you're not getting yourself too close, which I assume most people don't do, G4 is relatively easy. Even if you screw up stunning him with the grenades, and even if you end up using all your grenades or you end up mis-throwing it and you end up basically losing a grenade because you didn't damage him with it, you're gonna get the minigun that should have 400 rounds, and as long as you're not a complete garbage aim that's just spraying all over like you're a 4-year-old with a controller. Well, actually, nowadays 4-year-olds are not that bad at games. That's probably more of a 1-year-old thing, but besides the point. Moral of the story is that, you know, G4 is incredibly easy. If you know what you're doing. Like, if you have no strategy going in, and I guess you could say this about really any game or anything, really. I mean, no shit, Sherlock, am I right? But seriously, you know, it's not like with Super Tyrant where even with a strategy, it's still a little difficult. G4 is 100%, if you got a strategy, he's a fucking cakewalk. Like, I was not expecting him to be as easy as he was. I think I took maybe one hit from G4, and that was honestly because I was being an idiot. It was not like 100% avoidable, 100% my fault. Like, literally, it is really easy to avoid getting damage from him. It's not a hard fight. But anyway, what you're gonna want to do is focus shot this guy, because as I mentioned with Leon, focus shots do about 1.5 damage, so it doesn't hurt, and it will save you bullets, even if only just very, very few, but especially early game, that matters. But yeah, just get him out of the way, close up that window, because fuck yo shit, zombie. But yeah, very similar strategy as to what we're gonna do. I mean, honestly, the main difference is the fact that you don't need to over rely on your grenades as much as you do with Super Tyrant. I mean, they do help, but like, but again, you can still easily use the minigun or the spark shot or whatever. I think I end up bringing the spark shot and the minigun into the fight, in addition to about 7 grenades. 7 or 8 grenades. I believe Carcinogin says it's recommended to have 7 hand grenades for the final fight. You can probably easily get away with it as long as you have, obviously, the minigun. That's about 400 shots right there. And then, of course, the spark shot. And maybe, depending on how much ammo you have, you might be able to bring in the grenade launcher. Maybe. That's a big if. Because just like with Leon A, the previous video, we're only going to upgrade our inventory slot once. I made the same mistake with Leon as well. I got bit here. But again, you are going to see throughout this that we will end up having multiple heals. And I think we'll still have like at least 2 or 3 heals by the time we get to the final boss. Like, there's plenty of heals as long as you don't excessively screw up like that. And we're gonna finish this experience at around roughly an hour 40 minutes. So that you do have a 50-minute buffer. Or if you're one of those guys that likes to round up for whatever reason, then you have basically a 1 hour buffer to change this guide and adapt it to your strategy. Or if you want to go get the submachine gun, even though we don't go for the submachine gun, it is not used at any point in this guide. If you're one of those people that think you might need it for G4 for whatever reason, again, you have about a 50-minute buffer. So you have plenty of time to go and get it as long as you're quick about it. Like, make sure, like, if you're gonna get it, do it in a way that makes sense. Like for Leon, it's a little bit easier because it's not as far out of the way, because, you know, where you get the jewelry box, because you got to go right there by the staircase anyway. But with Claire, because you have to go through Iron's office and whatnot, I believe it's a little bit more out of the way. I don't know how much. Like, if I remember correctly, Carcinogin finished his Leon run at around roughly an hour and a half, hour 30. I finished mine at about the 2-hour mark, like just under. So assume that if you're going to go for the submachine gun, if you're one of those people that decide you want to go that route, which you don't have to, I show you in this guide how you can avoid that. But if you decide you want to go for it for whatever reason, it'll probably take you about, I would add probably at least 20 minutes to your time. Which even then, that still gives you about a half-hour buffer. So like I said, as long as you don't screw up horrendously, you should have plenty of time to do this. So, yeah, and the reason, I don't think I mentioned this in the other video with Leon. The reason why I'm doing Scenario A is because Scenario A is easier. There's probably a lot of you guys that are kind of like me, where you do love the Resident Evil series, but you kind of take it a little bit more casual. You're not necessarily speedrunning it all the time. You're not necessarily figuring out the fastest pass. You're just enjoying the game. And if you end up needing to do what essentially is a speed run, well, maybe not a speed run, but a fast run like this in order to get infinite ammo, you're probably looking up a guide just to do it the one time, and then you'll probably never do it again. At least not in the sense of like traditional ammo, bullets. You're probably just going to use that infinite gun and just breeze through the game for funsies. So, but yes, that's exactly what I did. So, so I did a little bit of research, and Scenario A is a little bit easier to do than Scenario B for... Oh, hold on. Sorry about that. I got a call from my mother. But, yes, as I was saying, Scenario A is just easier than Scenario B because you get an additional 30 minutes to beat the game for S+. And the harder enemies don't spawn until later in the game, as we're like, for example, I think Leon B and Claire B, when you go to the first hallway, to our left of the item box, that very first hallway, before you get to like the West office and whatnot, Liquor spawn immediately, basically at the very start of the game. And then, of course, so does Mr. X. So not only is more difficult enemies and Mr. X spawn basically immediately, you also have 30 minutes less. So especially if you really know what you're doing and you got a good pathing, going on, it's just easier to do Scenario A. I mean, for those of you that, that are casual and you don't really give a crap about Scenario B or just the scenarios in general, you're just like, I want a good, reliable way to get my infinite weapons so I never have to do this again, unless I'm just doing it for fun with said infinite weapons, in which case you're not going to get S+ anyway. If you use infinite weapons, you're just going to be defaulted to normal S. So, and this is definitely the right guide if you're that kind of person, because I will probably never do an S+ on Scenario B for either of them, because I got my rewards, I got my infinite ammo now, I don't give a fuck. So that's the moral of that story. So if you're someone who's mega casual in Resident Evil, this is the way you want to do it. Yeah, shooting the legs to stun them, easier said than done if your aim is garbage like mine. Yeah, we will never go back through that hallway again, thank God, since, you only have to go back there with that spade key or whatever as Leon. But now that we are Claire, to get to that room with the heart key, we just come back into that room, so thank God for that. We don't need to worry about those zombies. Yeah, get the handgun ammo and get the grenade launcher. I believe you can get the grenade launcher. I believe Carcinogin says that you can actually you have a second opportunity to get the grenade launcher at Nest, but you're not going to do that. One, because why would you get it there when you can get it now? It's not really that out of the way. And two, I believe at Nest, unless I misunderstood what he said, which is possible, but if I remember correctly, getting it here, you actually get those extra flame rounds. So And plus, you were going to need the grenade launcher for G2 anyway. So honestly, even if it's the exact same regardless of where you get it, you know, like you still get the same amount of flame rounds whether you grab it now or grab it at Nest. It's kind of a moot point because you need it for G2, so you got to get it here anyway. But I figured I'd clarify what Carcinogin said, assuming I interpret it correctly. And even if you did and assuming if I did interpret it correctly, and you just get the grenade launcher, you don't really get the extra flame rounds like we do here. It's one of those things where it's like, well, at that point, why wouldn't you? Because especially on hardcore, extra flame rounds is always nice, you know. So, but yeah, just get the grenade launcher here, and we will be using him. Losing my train of thought here, Lord. Yeah, but we will be using the grenade launcher primarily for G2 and G3. G4, I don't use it at all. And G1, just like with Leon, we use the pistol. And then I think we use the grenade launcher, if you watched the previous video, you know, the group motherfuckers, as Carcinogin calls them, we will be using flame rounds for those. There is actually one significant change that, well, maybe not a significant change, but there is one change that I did that I didn't do with, that Carcinogin didn't do, my bad, and that was in Nest. He used flame rounds to kill the lickers that spawn after you turn on the power, well, in the power room where you go to cool the cartridge. I didn't see it necessary for that, because again, they're lickers. You should be able to, as long as you make sure to slow down before you pass a certain point, they won't hear you, and you can just basically, when you get close enough, run right by them, and then when you leave the room, they reset their spawns back over there, and you just do the same thing that I did as Leon. But I think he explained, if I remember correctly, that really the main reason he killed him is because Claire, unlike Leon, doesn't have as many ways to avoid the lickers or something like that. Like, just something about like reliability. I forget the exact thing he said, but I'll make sure to put a link to his video if you want to watch his side of it and get all the nitty-gritty details that he explains. Which, honestly, those details are more for pros status. It's not, like, casuals aren't going to remember this. They're just going to know that this works, and I'm just going to follow the steps. I don't really care about the logic. I just want my infinite ammo, you know? And that was me. That information doesn't really help me when I'm never going to use it outside of this playthrough, because I'm just going to start using the infinite weapons immediately afterwards. So, but again, to each their own. But yeah. Also, throughout this playthrough, unless you see me do something different, disclaimer, just kind of like with the previous video where I said very early on you need to hoard grenades, and here's why. We are going to be mixing acid rounds pretty much exclusively, and you do not use them at all, except for like the one. I think we're gonna use one round on a liquor in here real quick, but try to avoid using them. But I will say that I think because I used acid rounds exclusively on G3, and it's surprisingly easy. It's stupid easy how you can literally stun lock them with acid rounds. And as long as you make sure to space out enough time, you know, unlike me with Super Tyrant with the grenades where I was throwing them early and I was doing damage, but he was still in the animation of being stunned, so you can't stun over a stun. And then he would get out of the stun and then I'd have to avoid it. Yeah, it's, you know, it's the same thing, but the grenade launcher reloads pretty quick, so even if you just kind of just shoot him as fast as you can, he shouldn't really get close enough to you, and the fact you can reload while running away helps too. But But just know that you want to hoard acid rounds and do not use them unless you see me use them in the video, because you are going to use them pretty much exclusively for G3. And it is basically a free fight, because you just stun lock his ass. I got a lucky one tap there, which was cool. But basically, the acid rounds turn the fight into a freebie, because you stun lock him better than you could do with the grenades with Super Tyrant, and you just win the fight. Literally, it's honestly crazy how easy it is. Like, what the actual hell. But I explained this in Leon's video, but even though this didn't actually occur in Leon's video, with that zombie that's eating ass, basically, as Carcinogin calls him Anal Ingus, which is hilarious. I'm probably going to use that from now on. But, you know, thank you, Carcinogen. But he only triggers when you go up the ladder. I don't know if that applies to Leon. I assume it does. But I never tested it. I just had enough shotgun ammo and just killed him anyway. But for Claire, it's a little bit different, because we have a grenade launcher and limited pistol ammo and blah, 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 right? So you gotta be careful about that stuff. And with this guy that's leaned up against the wall here on the left, you just got to make sure to hug the opposite wall just as hard as you can when you're coming in and out, and you will avoid triggering him. So, and then of course you trigger Anal Ingus if you climb up the ladder, so don't do that until you're ready to go up and to the 3rd floor with the gear. So easily save ammo that way. You'll be fine. But now we're already at G1. Or we're about to be when we get this last medallion, which is right here, but yeah, I think I'm doing that aim down sights thing a bit too fast. What am I doing? Oh, I went for the ammo. You should have more than enough ammo for G1, especially if you did what I did and you went and got the infinite knife in your first 2 playthroughs, because that's what I did. If you watch my Resident Evil series, the first 7 episodes is me doing my first playthrough on the PS4 Pro, or just PS4 in general, just PlayStation in general. My first playthrough I did Claire A, and then my second playthrough I did Leon B, and if you get all the Mr. Raccoons in those 2 playthroughs, because you have to do a minimum of 2 playthroughs to get the infinite combat knife, and that's what I did. So just like with Leon, whether it be you somehow miss a ton of shots and you run out of ammo and you need to get really creative, just bringing in the combat knife into the fight, even though Carcinogen doesn't do it. If you have it, you might as well, because again, as long as you're careful and you know that you're good at dodging, if somehow, some way you run out of ammo and he's still alive, at least you have a backup. Alright, same thing as I'm overwriting the second Leon save, because if you watch the previous video, I kind of explained that. But yeah, there's the transition. So we've died a total of 3 times. And just like with the Leon video that I uploaded the other day, in the death montage, all 3 of those deaths were from G2. And I really was certain that G2 was going to be easy, just like he was with Leon. But no, hell no, apparently not. Consistency isn't a thing. Well, well, no, it's literally just because Claire has a different weapon loadout, and clearly some bosses are way easier with certain loadouts, and then others not so much. And that was the case. That's exactly what that was. But after dying 3 times to him, I eventually saved it. I used my second save, which I was trying to avoid, because I wanted to use my second save at G3, But then after dying 3 times, I remembered G3 is supposed to be really easy because I watched Carcinogin's video and I saw how he did it. And I'm like, okay, I think I can get through that first try. And I did. It was really easy. So I would just recommend just your first save. If your first save is either going to be here or it's going to be at G2. And then your second save is either going to be at G2 or it's going to be at G3. But your final save should 100% be right before the final boss. Just like most people. You see, like right there. Just knifing him. You don't need to do that. You should have plenty of handgun ammo if you want to just keep shooting him while he's down. But I just do that because on the off chance I start running low, all of that little damage from doing that knife thing when he comes down multiple times, well, English is hard. It will add up. And then I ended up using the infinite knife as a defense weapon, so I believe it doesn't spawn. So, yeah, and immediately after getting rid of it, I forgot that I completely forgot that I just used it as a defense item. So that was me being stupid. You do not need to waste a grenade here. I was kind of sad that I wasted it, but the saving grace is that it was fine. It was completely fine because when I was watching Carcinogin's video, when you're heading to the orphanage and you have that dog section and you know how there's a grenade on the bus, Carcinogin actually missed that. And I watched the video and I went, oh, he was talking about hoarding grenades all this time and he missed one. And sometimes that happens. You just get caught up, you know, in the game, and sometimes you miss things. It happens. And I actually picked it up. So we're not really worse off for me using the grenade here. All it really would have done if I didn't is I would have had an extra grenade for the final fight. Which obviously isn't a bad thing. I mean, having another grenade is obviously a big help. But if you do end up, for whatever reason, feeling like you needed to use that grenade, then use it. Because like, again, Carcinogin says you need a minimum of 7 hand grenades, but I think you can get away with 5 or 6, as long as your aim is not garbage, and you hit your shots with the minigun, and I believe you can, and I believe I brought in the spark shot, yeah, like as long as you're careful. Because the final boss isn't about HP, it's about how many eyes you pop, according to Carcinogin. So assuming that's the case, it doesn't really matter how much HP you deal, it's just pop as many eyes as you can, as fast as you can. And that's kind of the main reason why you use the 7 grenades, is because, you know how he has multiple eyes on his chest, because that's his weak spot? You throw a grenade, it'll pop all of them in just one explosion. So it makes the whole fight go a lot faster. But again, if you're running a little lower on hand grenades, as long as it's like if you start getting down to like 3 hand grenades, I might be a bit worried, because you know, especially if you're someone who, you know, only brought in like 3 grenades, and for whatever godforsaken reason your aim, just like me, is really not the best, and you're really concerned. I mean, yeah, you might just have to redo from the previous save or the save before that, depending on what happened. So just want all that to be kept in mind when you go for the final boss. And same thing like before, in Leon, if you go here first before you go and get the diamond key, because you need the diamond key here, you can't skip it like with Leon. If you come in here first, the zombies won't spawn. Thank God for that. They won't wake up. But keep in mind that instead of dogs, there's lickers now, so we need to move very slowly. And it's kind of crazy. Seriously, it's kind of crazy how close you can get to these motherfuckers. Because, like, I swear to God, this liquor right here that we're about to pass, I shit you not, like look at this. I'm sure I touched his ass, and he still didn't notice because I think his hitbox is a tiny bit smaller than his actual body, or something. Because I swear I touched the tip of his toe or something. I swear to God. But yeah, as long as you don't slow down at all, you can definitely take that tight turn. And I would probably recommend that because going around the long way, I'm not sure how that would work. I mean, it's both ways are probably pretty doable, but just be careful. Yeah, grab the flashbang here. I forget if when you grab the diamond key, I forget if you leave that zombie thing open if he wakes up or not, but I close it anyway just to be safe, so that way he doesn't wake up. And now run as fast as you can. This zombie shouldn't grab you because of how long it takes him to actually get up. And now with this, you want to aggro the liquor. And I don't mean aggro like he starts attacking you, but for him to start noticing you. And then you walk out. And the moment you leave the room, since they're scripted to stay in that room, those two liquors, it resets their spawn, basically, or whatever you want to call it. And they come back onto the wall. And if you just hug it really tight, you'll be fine. It's really easy to avoid them. And same with the Spider-Man motherfucker, as Carcinogin said, up here, because there's one on the roof right up here. Very easy to avoid. You just hug the right wall. I made the mistake one time hugging the left wall, not thinking, and he comes down the left wall, and I touched him, and I'm pretty sure I died. Or at the very least, if you survive, you're going to use a heal, but it's very easy to avoid that, so hug the right wall. You don't have to do this, but because we're just getting the new pistol. I forget what it's called. Isn't it like the JBA? Or the JMB, I'm sorry. JBA, I must be thinking of Splinter Cell, John Brown Army. Huh? But yeah, so we're going to use that pistol because of its clip size and the fact it has a laser sight. And I think it's just a little bit easier to aim. I forget what the reasoning why Carcinogen did it, but I honestly like the pistol, so I was fine with that. If you feel like you are better with the default pistol that you get, if you feel like you're better with that, then don't bother. Because basically, once we finish the police station, well, finish the orphanage too, like, you know, that whole section, like, once we get to the sewers, we're basically not using our handgun anymore. Well, with the exception of the high-powered rounds a little later. But in terms of vanilla handgun ammo, we're not going to be using it. And we should... so, whatever you prefer. I would just go ahead and get that JMB, because especially since I believe it comes with ammo already in it, and then when you equip the magazine, it jumps up to, I believe, 26, and it just gives you more ammo for the dog section, so before the orphanage. So I would just, that's kind of the main reasoning for me, is just it just gives you more bullets that you probably don't even need, because by this point, if you followed this relatively accurately, you should still have about 60 bullets in your item box, roughly. Plus the 24 whatever in the clip, so you should have plenty for that section. Alright, so what we're going to do here is, like, we're going to use flame rounds to kill these zombies, because we do have to come back through here after we get the second electronic part. So we're just killing them right now, since they're literally right here before we go down the ladder. It only takes a second to do. And then we're going to grab the first electronic part here. Yeah. I realized that if you wanted to go for the submachine gun, I realized that technically, provided if you did the jewel earlier, or at least brought the book with you up to this point, you could have technically gone downstairs real quick before you spawn Mr. X and grab the jewel box. So, and then just make sure to take a quick detour to the STARS office. So I guess it's not too far out of the way to get the submachine gun with Claire, but it's still a little bit out of the way. Especially since we didn't open the path from the library to the STARS office. That, I believe, isn't open. So you gotta take the long way around, which is a bit annoying. Same thing here. I mentioned this in Leon's run, and I believe in one of the 3 attempts that I did when I died, Mr. X actually just went for that ladder that we came from and didn't even notice me. And I don't think that happened this time. Yeah, I think he actually noticed me this time. Yeah, I thought so. But it's not that big of a deal. I mean, he's not necessarily the fastest, especially when he's got to come through doors. But yeah, basically, we're just going to go haul ass downstairs, grab the thing for the library, and then go up to the library. Like, we're just hauling ass to the gear, basically, right now. That's all we're doing. Just be careful of the RNG here, because in the previous video, if you watched it, I did say the RNG can be a bit of a bitch. I had a bad RNG one of the attempts, I believe, and like the very first video part of the death montage where I died, I believe, from that zombie in the library biting me. Well, the part of the reason how that happened is the fact that the zombie that we just triggered in the West office there happened to be right in front of the door, and I got bit, and it slowed me down enough to where Mr. X was kind of on my ass, and I was trying to, yeah, it went bad. I'm kind of glad I'm not showing that, because that went really bad, and yeah, I don't know, but this actually went good. And I think part of the reason why I made that mistake is because without thinking, I forgot to hang left when I went to the West office, rather than I did the same thing I did coming in from the other door. I kind of hung, you know, I did the long sweep. But either way, quickly move the bookcases and go up the ladder, because you will not be coming into the library or the RPD at all at this point. I mean, the only thing you would need to come back here for, maybe, if you decided to do this, is if you're going for the submachine gun, you go back up the elevator to get the submachine gun upgrade, because obviously you can't really do that until a little later. But, yeah, kill these zombies so that way you don't have to worry about them. Because you gotta make your way through them to get back to Iron's office anyway. So we're about 37 minutes in, so a little under 2 hours left in order to get the S+ rating. So we're making great time, because we're basically out of the RPD at this point. Because all it is we just quickly fix up these gears, and then we go grab the parking thing, do Sherry section, take the elevator down. Like, it's, yeah. Because not including Sherry section, like, completely ignoring that for a minute, like, yeah, we're basically out of the RPD, because it would only take us really a minute to get this part right here, go grab the parking thing and then go down the elevator and leave, you know? Like if you ripped Sherry's section out and it just didn't exist and you just went straight through this, yeah, we're gonna be out of RPD technically in a few minutes. So, like, yeah, Sherry's section is really kind of what makes it feel like you're not, but we're basically done here. And just be careful because Mr. X can, if you have bad RNG, he can be on this floor with you and he can get your ass. Yep. So. Yeah, if you didn't have the med kit that I have here, you could technically grab both of these at the same time. You have plenty of handgun ammo, so you probably, if you're like one of those people that's like, I'm not coming back here, you know, for just one thing, because you're trying to get through it as fast as possible, then I would probably just take the flashbang instead, because we still have plenty of ammo for the handgun for this last section that we're going to be using the pistol, because like I said, after we get through the orphanage, we're done with the pistol basically. So, and we have plenty of handgun ammo. So if you're gonna unless you're gonna do it Carcinogen's way, where you abandon having a heal altogether, and which of course naturally gives you an extra item slot because you don't need it, then yeah, you get the point. Although, don't make the mistake I did. As you can see, there's like 60 handgun ammo, or at least, if not more. And I made the stupid mistake of not... Yeah, see, I decided to change my mind and was like, I'm not going to go back up there for that. Unless I grabbed it or whatever. I'm already like, bleh, whatever. I made the stupid mistake of bringing with me the 60 handgun ammo. Like, what you see here is all that I brought. For the love of God, take all of your... At least another stack of handgun ammo. I made the mistake of not doing that. I don't know how I managed to do that, but I did. And I'm convinced that I would have took damage if it wasn't for the fact that I got a lucky one-tap headshot, I think. Was it a one-tap? It might have been a one-tap. But I basically headshotted a zombie, and yeah. And he died really quick. I didn't have to shoot him multiple times. So I brought way less ammo than I should have. And luckily I managed to have just enough, partially because of RNG. But you want to try to limit RNG naturally as much as you can. So don't make the mistake that I did. Bring all your handgun ammo. Make sure that, that way you can be comfortable to just let loose on the dogs, knowing you're not really going to use the pistol ever after that section. So you can just kind of go ham, kill all the dogs, kill the zombie in the bus, and be on your merry way. Yeah. But anyway, I will be right back. It'll only be a second for you guys, but it might be a while for me, but I'll be right back. Yeah, I'm back. Didn't take that long for you guys. Took a tiny bit for me, but yeah. I have a pizza in the oven that I gotta go deal with here in a little bit. But thank God this is still post-commentary, so I can just pause the commentary and then start recording it later, and there you go. The power of video editing is amazing. Even though I am not that good at it. Admittedly. but I'm learning. I'm trying to get better.
Oh no.
But yeah, Sherry's section is incredibly easy. I think the only thing that really gave me a hard time with it in my earlier playthroughs is the fact that I didn't realize you could hide under a table. And I honestly can't remember because those of you that know and watch the other videos on my channel, Math Panda, or as we like to call her on this channel, Miss Panda, she's the one that got me into the Resident Evil series, and again, my memory's really bad, so maybe I just forgot, but I swear to God that the only thing that we ever did, or me specifically, is I would just basically circle around this thing right here. Because you can do it. You can actually just, even when he's looking over it and then he does that quick lean, you know, on the second half, you know, instead of going under the table, I just stayed back here and I put myself in line with that right corner there. And if you time it just right, for some reason when he looks over it, he can't see you. And then when he does his quick lean to the left, you shimmy back there to the right, like the other direction instead of the direction we're going right now. And like, he won't see you. It's really weird how his line of sight works. But watching Carcinogen's guide, I was like, oh, you can hide under that table, and you'll see here in a second. And like literally playthrough after playthrough after playthrough after motherfucking playthrough, I didn't even remember. Like, again, I don't, either I did it once and just completely forgot it existed, or I don't know. I really don't know, but I swear to God, I don't remember ever doing this right here. Like, but when you're under this table, he cannot see you. So once you get to this point, you're pretty much golden. I'd be amazed if you screwed up at this point, because basically now you just wait, you grab the keys, you run back down to the room that we were trying to get the keys in, and then you're back to Claire. Like, it's not like Ada where you got zombies in your path and there's a chance, and then maybe a slight RNG unluckiness, you end up getting grabbed and pinned or something, who knows. But yeah, you're pretty much in the gold clear right now. You just grab the keys and you freaking bolt. Yeah, we got about like an hour left of the game for this video before it ends. So, but sorry about that. It was really weird. I don't know what happened, but if you just heard me say "but" and then it sounded like it cut off, like, trying to record my post commentary for this, and for some reason it just stopped recording for whatever reason. But it happens. It's whatever. Oh, he's so mean. But yeah, now you finished Sherry's section. Pretty easy, pretty straightforward, borderline impossible to fail. And now, back to Claire, we are heading to the sewers. Well, to the orphanage, which will basically take us to the sewers immediately, but yeah. Yep. If for whatever reason you forgot to get your... did what I did and you forgot to get your other 60 handgun ammo before you went into the Sherry section, remember to get it right now. I didn't occur to me. And I just ended up leaving it there. Again, I got a little lucky in being able to survive through that section. I don't know how I did it, but I did. But yeah, now that we're back here, Mr. X is going to spawn. And he's going to chase us. So... yeah. Pretty easy. I mean, Mr. X, even with his like fast walk, he basically slows down once he gets close to you. Like as long as you keep, as long as you don't get caught on the geometry of the level or something like that, he's pretty easy to avoid. Mr. X is not intimidating. He's not like Nemesis, where if he's even anywhere near you, that tentacle grabs you and you get dragged. But yeah, after you trigger that zombie to crash the fence down, you got to take a really wide turn here. Unless you want to waste a heal or something. Because basically if you do this, those two zombies will come out unless they get caught for whatever reason. And you should just loop around here. And once you pass that gate, Mr. X can't chase you. And those zombies are too slow to begin with. So you're pretty much clear to go from here. And now you're entering the dog section where you need all the pistol ammo, which, again, I can't stress this enough. Please remember to bring more handgun ammo in here than I did, because I think this is about when I realized, oh shit, because I saw the ammo counter. But yeah, you want to take their leg off, because they can't climb over this dumpster without their leg. Yep. And the dog comes here, just pop him. About 3 to 4 shots, depending on distance and if you got a headshot or whatever. It's about like 3 to 4 shots, maybe 5 at a push. Yep. See, now I only have 25 shots between here and the orphanage, so it's... yeah. So yeah, it didn't really go very well. Yeah. Worst case scenario, if for whatever reason you forgot your ammo, just make sure that you have enough to kill all these dogs here, or at the very least you're good enough at dodging them to where you can get to the bus relatively unscathed. Then because you're definitely going to want to kill the zombie in the bus because how tight it is. And then the last dog, because he's constantly running, if you're like me, he can be a bit hard to get a shot off on, so... yeah, 9 bullets. See, this is what I'm saying, is this would have been where I would have been screwed. Because had I not got this headshot here, as you're going to see right here, like after I grabbed the grenade, missed a shot, and then the second shot that actually hit, one tapped his ass. If it wasn't for that, I probably would have barely had enough to kill him, if that. Maybe not even that. And I basically wouldn't be able to stay in the bus like I'm doing right now, trying to get a good shot off on the dog, because he would have just grabbed me. Because I don't have a defense weapon, really, other than the grenade, and I'd rather not waste a grenade on one zombie. I'd rather waste a heal on getting hit from the dog. So... after a little while, depending on how good of a shot you are, one of two things is going to happen when you're right here. Either A, you're a good shot, even when he's moving high speed and he jumps past the door. You end up hitting him, which will get him into a stun, and then you can just pop him real quick and hopefully kill him. I am not a good aim, as you can see. Like, I'm just too slow. And so the second option is you can make a run for the door.
Hell is up with you?
Which you may or may not get jumped by the dog, but you should, like I said, you should have plenty of heals, so I wouldn't worry about that, especially if you brought a heal with you, which I did. If you ended up taking a hit, you would have been fine. I got lucky enough to where he stopped moving and he right in front of the door, so that was a little bit of RNG there, because I've had runs where, because like I said, I died 3 times at G2, so I went through this area 3 times before, with this being the 4th, if my math is correct, because I died 3 times, so that means I went there once, and I died, yeah, my brain is fried for some reason right now. but yeah, and I've had runs where the dog just does not stop. He's running full speed or whatever. So that was a little bit of RNG there. Don't rely on that. You might just take the hit and say screw it. I have plenty of heals. You should get through the sewer section pretty unscathed too, so I wouldn't worry about that.
Sherry? Where are you? Claire! Sherry? I'll be right there!
You, I don't know. I don't know if this is a PlayStation thing because I can't remember if this happened in the PC version or anything. But for some reason, once in a while, because this happened, I don't think it happened every single time, but it happened a good amount of the time where it'll glitch and the game will still think you're being chased by Mr. X, and Claire will keep saying her like go 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 and all those lines even though we've already passed it right here. I don't know what that's about, but it usually kind of fixes itself after a minute or whatever. But it's still really weird. Oh, by the way, I think I completely forgot to mention this earlier. I just saw the shoulder stock flash on screen for the grenade launcher, and I just realized I never explained why we haven't equipped it. The reason why we haven't equipped it is because and attached it to the grenade launcher is because it's going to turn the grenade launcher into a 2-slot weapon versus a 1-slot. And yes, it does make the crosshair narrower so you can get more accurate and longer shots. But so far, at least right now at this current point in time, all the enemies are going to be really slow and really up close. So you don't really need that, because every enemy up until G2, but not including G2, will pretty much die in one shot from a flame round, which is all we've been using up to this point, except for that one exception with that liquor with the acid round. But other than that, it's basically all it is. So you want to run around right there, trigger that zombie that was on the floor, wait till it gets up, throw a flash. You're never going to come up here again, so don't worry about it. Grab the flame round and get out of there. I believe that locker right there has submachine gun ammo, so if you're going for the submachine gun, you can grab it, but I think you'll be more than fine, so whatever. But yeah, but we're going to equip the shoulder stock once we get to G2, because that's when you're going to want the more narrow crosshair where it's more accurate, you know you're going to hit them. So, but yeah, but don't equip that until G2, because you don't need it till then. All it does is make you have one less inventory slot, and especially if you're like me and you were following Carcinogin's guide and kept forgetting that he has one extra inventory slot than you because you were bringing heals when he wasn't, and it's just, yeah. Just, like I said, just keep all that crap in mind. Right here is going to be a tiny bit of RNG, because if you're lucky, you should be able to one-tap both zombies, just like that. Sometimes one will survive and you need to tap them again with another grenade, but I got lucky and I managed to save a grenade. And then, of course, you want to hit shoot a grenade on that other zombie that was laying down, because once you come back, just like with Leon, once you come back from getting in this case, the spark shot instead of the flamethrower, since we're Claire, and the king and queen pins, or plugs, whatever, then he's going to wake up, so, yeah. And same thing, just hug the wall as best you can, and then, there you go. Yeah, for the most part, this is very similar to Leon. Like, it's not, I mean, I think the only real significant difference is like the very first placement of like the baby G, or the adolescent G, whatever you want to call the big ones, or whatever the hell. But yeah, tap this guy, there you go. But yeah, grab this plug and immediately turn around. You don't want to waste ammo on these zombies or anything. But yeah, now we're going to go to the G area. Well, we're going to open the G area, just like what we did with Leon, and then we're going to go and sort out our inventory at the box. Yeah. And then after we sort out our inventory, we're going to go and get the plugs and the spark shot. But the only real difference is the very first G is going to be a tiny bit farther back, and it's going to be easier to avoid him. As with Leon, it's a bit more difficult. But for the most part, it's kind of the same strat. Just bring one grenade and hopefully you won't need to use more. And just do your best to kind of avoid them. I think this attempt I got pretty lucky on my RNG, but yeah. And then of course grab the upgrade for the SLS or whatever the pistol is, so that way you can use the high powered ammo, because we will be using that specifically for G3. We do use a little bit of that high powered ammo, so you are going to want to use that. But anyway, I will be right back. I'm going to go eat my food, and then I will come back. It's only going to be a second for you guys, but who knows. Alright, be back. Yep, I'm back. It's actually the following day for me. It was a little late because that pizza was my dinner. And I just decided to take the rest of the night off and relax. Yeah, we got about 40 minutes left of this, and then you guys, if you followed this, should have S+ for Claire A. I wasted those 5 shots because, as I said earlier, basically once we get to the sewer, we were never going to be using handgun ammo ever again. And it's just one of those things where it's like, the way Carcinogin explains it is basically, it's a guaranteed, like, now you know for sure that there's only high powered rounds in it if you need it. That's basically the understanding. Yeah, but now we're going into the G area, which I believe, do I get lucky? I might get lucky on this one. Well, either way, I mean, wasting 1 grenade isn't as big a deal. Yeah, but see, this first G up here, if you hang a hard left along this wall, basically, he's not, like, with Leon, this G was a lot closer. So, you couldn't really avoid him as easily, if at all. Yeah, that G I managed to avoid. And this G is just easy to avoid altogether, the one coming through that tube. So, if you follow that, you should, for the most part, unless, again, you get bad RNG or something, you should be able to get through that without wasting a grenade. But you can get bad RNG on the way back, where you can either have no G's spawn at all, and you just get a straight shot back, except for the very last one before you get to the ladder. Or you can have bad RNG, where you get at least 1 G, if not 2. I've had 2 spawn on me on the way back, and they were in my way, and it was... yeah. So there is a slight RNG element to this section, at least from my experience. Yeah, pop them with a grenade, just to get them out of the way. You know, so I just want you guys to keep that in mind, that again, slight RNG, but it's not horrendous RNG to the point where, like, again, bring 1 grenade, maybe a combat knife if you feel like you need it, and if you think you can get lucky enough to, you know, avoid that. And then there you go. You should be able to get through the area with no massive issues. You should. Keyword should. I hope to God none of you guys get unlucky enough to have the one fluke horrendous RNG where all of them are in your way and you basically just get poisoned left, right, and center. But I highly doubt that'll happen. Yeah, but now that we got the plugs and the spark shot, we can go and get ready for G2. Yeah, if you just wait here for a second, wait for him to do the little head wiggle. Yeah, right there. Yeah, yeah. And now you just go as fast as you can. sometimes you have a G right there on the right, but for some reason he wasn't there. And I think I had one time a G spawn in front of me as I was heading to this platform. And yeah, like I said, there's a little bit of RNG, so just be careful. Yeah, this guy, if you go back far enough right here, he's scripted to do a swing. And you only get stunned when they pop up out of the water the very first time they do it. Every time after that, you don't get stunned, which is good to know. So if you do that strategy where you back up, let him swing and sink down, you can run past him and you'll be just fine. No issue at all. But yeah, we managed to get through that section without wasting a defensive item, which is good. Yeah, you're gonna use the SLS high-powered rounds and the grenade launcher, and same thing with Leon. I believe you're gonna bring in 2 flashbangs to stun him, and you are gonna use 1 hand grenade. So it is kind of nice that we were able to save that grenade that we probably would have used if you got bad RNG in the G section. Well, the baby G section, whatever, you know what I'm talking about. I need to get back into chess because, like, chess is really fun. Just all those chess pieces as plugs is just so cool. Cause
All right, Sherry. On my way.
yeah, thankfully, I do the whole rest of this in one shot. There's no transitions or anything. Because, like I said earlier in the video, I tried to do G2 thinking it would be easy like it was with Leon. I died 3 times. After the 3rd death is when I said I'm just going to save, which is what you just saw me do. And then G3 and G4 were easy. So alright, trigger G. You are going to shoot him once, maybe twice, with the grenade in the hand. I believe I saw Carcinogin do it, like he shot him once. And then he basically went straight. I might need to rewatch that video, because I could have swore he only shot him once. But maybe I'm wrong and he did shoot him twice, but once or twice. But again, if you just want to wait the time out, again, you have plenty of time, because we'll finish this at around an hour 40. So you, like I said earlier in the video, you have about 50 minutes buffer. So if you just want to wait him out and not waste a shot, you can do that. You should have plenty of time to do that if you follow everything else to a letter. So just keep that in mind. Yeah, normally, just like with Leon, you would wait and stun him, but I think I forgot to do that. So normally what you would do is you pop him with the grenade. Actually, you would stun him with the flash. You pop him with the grenade. I accidentally used the hand grenade because I forgot I still had it equipped. So that's something you guys need to remember to do is always check what defense item you have equipped for boss fights, because what you really should have done, if you want to do it Carcinogen's way, is is you flash him, pop him with a grenade, shoot about 4 or 5 SLS shots, and then about 4 or 5 SLS shots, pop him with a grenade, and then, and I mean the hand grenade, flash him again, and shoot him until he goes down, and then, so yeah. It might not be 100% correct, but yeah, I did this pretty wrong. But it happens. Yeah, he went down here, thank God. But yeah, so I did this way worse than what Carcinogin did. Carcinogin, I think, still had 1 or 2 flame rounds left. And he walked in with, I think, 1 less than I did. If I remember correctly. I could be wrong. But yeah, this went pretty bad.
This is taking forever.
But I ended up saving some flame rounds because I decided not to kill the lickers in nest like I talked about earlier. I just kind of ran past him. So it's fine. Like, as long as you get G2 down, you're fine, because you're not going to use flame rounds, at least if you follow the way I did it, because I do things slightly differently than Carcinogin, even though it's largely the same. There's just, like, again, the liquor thing's a good example of why would I waste ammo there? You know, if I follow what he does, that means that I have a pretty large buffer where I can kind of change things a little bit, and I was like, why am I wasting ammo here?
We're almost there.
Yeah, and I believe I finished the game with like 2 or 3 flame rounds in my inventory slot, in my inventory box, my bad. So, if you wanted to, you could kill the lickers, but it's not necessary.
Okay.
But yeah, we are off the nest, and you will be using some flame rounds. I just realized I said you're not going to use any flame rounds past this point a second ago, didn't I? No, you are going to use them on the plant group motherfuckers, as he calls them. But other than that, you're pretty much not going to use them.
Hey. Are you okay?
I don't know why I decided to watch this cutscene for as long as I did before I skipped it. Probably because I was distracted with something, but hey, it happens.
I'm getting you treatment. Just hold on, Sherry.
But yeah,
It's okay.
Nest is super linear. You're pretty much going to do the same thing you did as Leon. I think the only real difference is instead of the shotgun, you have the grenade launcher, and you can actually, I believe, kill the plant bastards because you have flame rounds and you can burn them. As for with Leon, I don't believe you can kill him. I think you can stun him. Or at the very least, it takes a lot more to kill him as Leon because you have a shotgun instead. So either way. Doing some little inventory management. Yeah, I believe we are going to bring the spark shot. Because there is an upgrade for the spark shot that we're going to get here in a second. Just like with the flame thrower as Leon, so. And the fact that it's really good for one-shotting zombies. Spark shot's just a really good weapon all around, honestly. I like it. But yeah, you're going to want to do the same thing. Grab the grenade and then hug the left wall. And grab the spark shot ammo. Yeah, I also want you to keep in mind that I believe I walked into the G3 fight with less acid rounds than Carcinogen did, if I remember correctly. I think I missed a gunpowder or something. I don't know. But I still managed to finish the fight with around, I believe, 7 acid rounds. So as long as you don't miss too much, you should be fine. You should have plenty. And the only other time you're going to be using acid rounds after that is to keep the group motherfuckers at bay while Sherry opens the door to the boss, the final boss. So as long as you don't miss horrendously, which I don't think you will considering how big G3 is, I don't know how you would miss, especially if he's coming right at you. I say that knowing I have missed a time or two, but you know what? We're not going to talk about that. But yeah, basically follow a similar path just like we did in Leon A. You just go through the area, shoot the group motherfuckers as needed, and you go get the cartridge. The patterns and the keypad numbers and all that are all the same since we're in scenario A. I think the only difference for this area that we're going to right now is mainly there's a group motherfucker that spawns in the cartridge dispersal room after you get the senior staff key, which is weird, and the fact that there's no Mr. X. But other than that, there's really no significant difference. It's pretty much the same. And you are going to want to bring the SLS because just like with the shotgun, where we headshotted those zombies before we turned on the power, same thing, except you're not going to want to waste the flame rounds. I mean, you could if you wanted to, but Carcinogin used the SLS, so we're just going to do that because we're going to have plenty of acid rounds for G3, and we're gonna have enough grenades and ammo for the spark shot and the minigun to take out G4 pretty easily. So basically, you're just gonna use all of your SLS ammo pretty much in G3 is basically what it comes down to. Yeah, just punch in your 2 codes and then get your cartridge.
Dispense.
Alright, so after you fill your cartridge, you're going to want to get the grenade and the, I believe it's the large handgun, or not large handgun, large gunpowder. That's what you're going to want to get after this. And then we're going to go get the signal. You know what? I'm just going to commit to calling it Signal Jammer, even though I'm pretty sure that's not what it's called. For some reason, that's just what I like to call it. But we're going to go get the Signal Jammer after we kill those zombies with the SLS that I talked about a second ago. But that's what we're going to do right now. Okay, pop them with the flame round. Alright, so remember, liquors will spawn in here once you get past a certain point. So let's take care of these zombies real quick. And then you're going to want to walk. I think you can run all the way up to that first pillar right there. Like, you can see that little lip right there on the right. I think once you pass that is when they spawn. It's either that one we just passed or the one right before it. But yeah, you run up here and just run past them. You'll be perfectly fine. Yeah, I ended up having not as much space as I would have liked. I killed that guy, even though I might not have needed to. I probably could have just went around him, but just to be safe. And now a little bit of inventory management. I mean, you might want to, like, since we're going to be going back, you do have another item box here in a minute that we're going to go to. That is in that one room that you get access to after you turn on the power. So you don't really need, so like, you can just put away the stuff you know you don't need and then just go visit that item box real quick to grab the things that you know you're going to need for the group motherfuckers. Since you're going to have to avoid them and possibly use a defensive item. But I was trying to avoid using my flame rounds because I can't remember why. I think it's because there is the group motherfuckers, once you get the senior staff ID, do kind of, you know, they can swarm you. Yeah, he can't come through this door because it's considered a safe room because of the item box and everything, which is good. Yeah, he lunged twice, so now you can just go around. You're not going to be coming back there anyway. I just decided to take the damage because I have plenty of heals. And it was better to just take the damage than just to waste a flame round when I'm not coming back there ever. And especially since I don't need to worry about somehow having a lack of invincibility frames and getting grabbed a second time by the other zombie if I just try to barge through him before I looped the other guy. So it depends on what you want to do. If you want to kill him, you can, but I don't think you should. Unless you're doing a no damage run like Carcinogin was doing, then okay, then yeah, you might want to just say screw it and pop him. But if you know you got plenty of heals like I did, and you're just kind of doing a run just for the sake of doing a run, or getting the infinite ammo weapons, you don't really care about going crazy with, you know, the skill level, you know, or whatever, that kind of stuff, then yeah, I would just take the damage and run.
Welcome back, Dr. Lee. You have 5 new messages.
Whew. Damn. Should have packed my...
Cooling sequence in progress.
My parka.
Cooling complete.
Alright, now that we've cooled the thing, we're going to go stop at that item box that I mentioned real quick, and then we're going to go and finish this area off by getting the staff ID badge thingy. And then we're going to go and fight G3, and then proceed to G4. We have about 20 minutes left of the video. And if you followed it pretty closely, and hopefully it didn't give you too much trouble, then you should have successfully gotten to S+. And if you haven't already, you should have unlocked the infinite minigun, which is going to be awesome. I can't wait to use that. Well, the thing is like, for both Leon and for Claire, like this playthrough, as soon as I finished this, I immediately started another playthrough on standard difficulty and just used the minigun, and I beat, I think, the whole scenario, I think it was scenario B, in about a little over an hour, just using the minigun because it's just so much fun. And same thing with Leon. Like, when I finished the previous video, like, as soon as I beat it and ended the recording, I just went and did a playthrough with the Infinite RPG because I was just so excited. I'm like, yay! Because how could you not, like, honestly?
Dispense.
So much for the weed infestation.
Warning. You have
As soon as you grab this ID badge thing, they are going to get back up pretty much immediately.
actions have been locked.
But after this point, we shouldn't need flame rounds if memory serves. We're pretty much just going to be using acid rounds if we need grenades at all. So don't worry about it. Just pop them as needed. That's exactly why you bring a knife into this. God, those plant things are so creepy. Ugh. I almost think I'd rather deal with Plant 42. Is it Plant 42? The one in Resident Evil 1 in the Residence? I think it's Plant 42. Because I believe the one here in Nest is Plant 43, I believe. I don't know. Someone please comment down below which one it is, because I know the number is very close, I'm pretty sure. But I could be wrong.
I'm not into allegiance.
Alright, we are on our way to the second to last boss fight, which, if you have made as many acid rounds as I have, you should have more than enough to survive. And like I said, you should be able to stun lock them super easy. This fight is basically a freebie. I know there's probably some people like myself that, you know, they think of like G3 on standard mode, and they walk in without a strategy because they're casual players like myself and have a little bit of a hard time. Maybe not crazy difficult, but then you think about the difficulty difference between standard and hardcore, and you're like, oh Jesus. You know? Well, you don't need to worry about that because stun locking is a powerful asset. Super powerful. And that's basically all you're going to be doing. Stun lock, and what was that? Oh yeah, stun lock. Because the acid rounds don't do the most damage, but we have more than enough to get his HP down to where we need it to be to finish him off. And just the fact that we can stun lock him and basically prevent having any damage taken on us whatsoever is good. And you can pop the eyes with the acid rounds. Like, if you hit the eye directly, you should be able to pop the eyes in one hit. But you will have more than enough rounds to where if you don't want to go for the accurate eye shots, you don't really have to. I mean, if you know you can do it and you know for a fact you'll hit it, then why not? And if for whatever reason it doesn't register you hit it, you still got a direct shot on him in general, which still does damage and still stuns him, so that's good. But if you want to do additional damage on top of just the default damage from being hit with the acid round, definitely go for the eyes. But don't go out of your way for it, because if you end up somehow like, for example, like whenever I try to go for the eye on his shoulder, like with like the shotgun or whatever, like I almost always seem to miss the eye because of how the eye is, and I'll end up hitting his body more than anything. So
Thank God. The antiviral agent. Gotta get back to Sherry.
yeah, like I said, I wouldn't save here, unless you really feel like you're garbage at this fight. But again, with stun locking, you really shouldn't have that be an issue, like, honestly. So just bring as many acid rounds as you have right now, and one heal just in case. You shouldn't need a flashbang or anything, because like I said, you're going to stun him with the acid rounds anyway. I don't even know why I brought the flashbangs in to begin with. But the thing is you do use the SLS for this fight, even if only for the very beginning. And I realized I forgot to bring it, so I'm turning back around right here. But yeah, as many acid rounds as you can bring, the SLS, one heal unless you're completely confident you don't need it, and if somehow you do, you get one provided for you during the fight. So as long as you're not horrendously, bad at this fight, that one heal should be plenty. But yeah, grenade launcher, acid rounds, SLS, and yeah. Me and my double-checking nature. Yeah. Yeah, technically we should have had 5 shots to bring into this fight, because I used one extra that I didn't really need to for G2, but that's fine. It happens. You're still going to have plenty of acid rounds to where it doesn't really matter. It's not going to affect the fight too terribly much. Just be careful. Try not to get hit by him. Yeah, I ended up getting hit by him because I was an idiot and cornered myself, which happens. Yeah, I hit him directly in the eye with that, thankfully. Yeah, you do need to keep in mind that just like with G2, just like with any boss, there is a delicate balance where, like, just like with Super Tyrant, you can't just start spamming the grenade. I mean, technically you can, because the reload speed's fast enough where it's not as big of an issue. It's not like with Leon throwing the hand grenades where... Yeah. But if you want to keep him in the stun lock, like, obviously when you stun him... Oh yeah, we're already in stage 3. Or maybe we're not. I thought we were. But yeah, see how he's stunned right there? You have to wait for him to get up, and about when he moves his head right there, because he's going to do like a little wiggle right before he starts moving. So basically when you can see him just about to take a step, that's when you shoot. If you want to keep him in the stun lock. But like I said, the reload speed's fairly fast enough to where, like, you can basically just continue popping him. But if you're someone who, like me, you're not 100% confident with your dodging ability, and you don't, especially if you decided to forget that, oh, you're a little too close, you know, if you don't time the stun lock, you do run the risk potentially, especially if you get a little too close without realizing it because you're in the zone, and that happens. I've done it many times in a variety of games. you end up running the risk of getting hit, and on hardcore, especially if you do what I did and you kept, because I think I'm still on yellow health right now because I don't think I healed from getting hit a little bit ago. So one hit would most likely kill me, and right there's the prime example of like, if I was any slower, even by a fraction of a second, if I was any slower, that would have been a game over. And because I didn't save, I would have had to have redone everything from G2. So like, again, as long as you're patient, for the most part, you can keep him in a continuous stun lock much more effectively than you can with Leon and Super Tyrant, mostly because of the fact that he's using hand grenades versus acid rounds, and the fact just, yeah, you get the point. But yeah, so as long as you're patient, this fight is practically a freebie. It's really easy to get through. And because we got through it so efficiently, despite taking a bit of damage, which happens, we have one more ink ribbon left, so we can save right before heading to the final fight, which, honestly, the final fight's really easy. It really is. So we're just going to go and do this final fight here.
Gotta get back to Sherry.
And call it good. I do want to say, though, and I know I said it in my Let's Play, in my first two playthroughs of the PS4 versions, but can we all agree, like, poor Sherry. Like, Sherry goes through hell, man, like, in this game. Like, I feel so bad for her. She's too small. She's too young to go through this kind of torture and bullshit. Like, I would hate for someone to have to go through something like that at that age in real life. Like, my God.
Sherry, can you walk faster?
But yeah, we're making our way to the save spot now.
Have to go.
Use the central elevator to evacuate immediately to the bottom level train platform.
Yeah, I forgot that you actually have to open it. Unlike with Leon, Ada basically already opens it, so...
Bottom level train platform. Attention, self-destruct sequence initiated. Use the central elevator to evacuate immediately to the bottom level train platform.
I hope you guys have enjoyed this guide so far. I mean, I know I'm not the greatest at explaining stuff, I know that. You know, especially when you compare me to someone like Carcinogin, who is really good.
Claire?
But like I said, this is more of a casuals guide. Like, this isn't for people that want to know the nitty-gritty.
Really glad I met you.
It's just like, hey, this works. I know it works.
Get you out of this place.
The basic understanding of how it works, not necessarily the nitty-gritty HP stuff, but just like the basic understanding. And then you just go do it. Mostly with the intent of never doing it again, because I will probably never do an S Plus run ever, now that I got my infinite minigun and RPG. Unless you're someone who likes to do S Plus runs. If you're someone who likes that challenge and you just like to do it for fun, then good for you, but I'm not one of those people. That's what I'm saying. Is this guide is more for the people that just intend to do it once. They're not intending to do an S Plus for every scenario. You know, Claire A, Claire B, Leon A, Leon B. You're just kind of doing it for the infinite ammo, and then you're never going to do it again. And if you do ever do something similar, you're probably going to do it with the infinite ammo. But at that point, if you're using the infinite ammo, you're not going to be able to get S Plus anyway. So... And with that, I overwrote my G1 save because I do intend to overwrite with my 5th playthrough the other Claire save under that. Because Resident Evil is one of those weird games for me where for some reason I like to keep track of every single playthrough by making multiple saves. I don't really do that with any other game, which is really weird. I don't know why. Like, I don't really do that with... I was going to say I don't really do that with Mass Effect, but Mass Effect's a bit different because even if you do a New Game Plus, it counts it as a separate career because of your ability to make a different decision. So every time you complete a playthrough, even if it has the same name. So I guess with Mass Effect it's a bit different because it's going to basically counts your playthroughs anyway unless you actually go through and delete the specific career. But a lot of games that even don't have that kind of feature, I just overwrite and use one save for basically every playthrough. So I don't know what it is about Resident Evil. I just like knowing how many playthroughs I've done. It's really weird. We had flame rounds in the item box. I honestly, it probably would have been better just to use those because I think it would kill these guys in one shot rather than basically just stun them because I believe they get back up. But one acid round will knock them down at least for a little bit. It should give you plenty of time to have Sherry open the door. See right there, speak of the devil. And there's a zombie coming up here where, if I remember correctly from Carcinogin, he actually only has, I think, like 50 HP or something. Like, his HP is so low from being on fire or whatever that he will be one shot to anything. Literally anything will one shot him. So like, use whatever you want for him is basically what I'm trying to say. Like, use your spark shot, use your grenade, use whatever you feel comfortable with. Well, yeah, now we're putting away the grenade launcher because we don't really have enough ammo to justify that. And we're going to bring every single hand grenade that we have, which, I didn't get a chance to count that. But, I'll go back. 3, 3, and 7. So we have exactly 7. Which is what we needed. According to Carcinogin, we needed a minimum of 7. If you're really good with the spark shot and if you're good at aiming with the minigun, you could probably get away with coming in with a little less. You just will need to use your other weapons. But you have more than enough time to do the boss without worrying about that. Because unlike with Leon, where you start the boss fight immediately once you put this little thing that we just grabbed inside, Claire has the added benefit. We can put it in and then grab the minigun and then start the fight, which is really nice. It's not like, oh, you need to have an additional 2 slots free, so and then the fight, and then it kicks you into the fight like with Leon, which is really nice. But yeah, this fight is not about HP because if I do remember correctly, he has about 500,000 HP or something, if I remember what Carcinogen said correctly. So this fight's not really about lowering his HP. It's more about popping as many eyes as you can as fast as possible, because once you hit a certain eye pop counter, the fight basically ends. Yeah, this was the thing that I think I mentioned earlier in the video where I was being stupid. That was completely avoidable. I should have just kept moving, because, you know, when he climbs up the wall, he's either going to jump on the train and then jump on you, or he's going to try to jump on you directly from the wall. So it's best to just keep moving. And when he does that charge thing that he just does right there, if you hug the corner of the train, he can turn when he does that, but his turning is not tight. So as long as you hug the corner, he basically can't get you. So you basically just throw your grenades and use your minigun, maybe your spark shot if you really run out of ammo, and you just use the train as cover. Basically, you just loop him around the train. That's really all you do. See, like right there, he's doing that charge attack. he can't get you. Okay, when he's on the ground like that, he's basically dead. Like, you still have to pop a few more eyes, and he can still damage you when he's like that, but he's basically dead once he's down there, because you can just pull out your minigun or your grenades or whatever you have left, and you can just lay into him because he's super weak. And just like that, G4, really easy fight. Super easy. You don't need any flashbangs, even though you can use them. You just loop around the train. And 1 hour, 40 minutes, 40 seconds. And with that, I will see you guys later. Take care.